Are you ready for eclipse number 2 in March? The more that we put conscious choice into the things that we do, the things that we value, and the things that we believe in, that is the marker of maturity, evolution, and growth of the individual. The energy of Aries is also a time when we individuate as a self. Pisces can be seen as the energy of the collective and what connects us all, and that cosmic womb where we come from all that is. We come from our community, we come from our parents, we come from our society, we come from a world in a certain era, a certain time and collective energetic experience. But Aries is the individual. This solar eclipse at 9 degrees Aries is the grand finale in the Aries eclipses that have been going on since April of 2023. I'm going to get into the general energy and overview of what to expect with this Aries eclipse and some other very exciting Aries energy happening this year. Then I'm going to include lots of important dates, so stay tuned for what to expect all along the way, and you can mark some of those ones on your calendar. And then I'm going to get into why I think we are in a very supportive and fortunate year, even if there feels like shaky ground. As always, I will leave lots of timestamps in the description so that you can timestamp your way through the intro and check your sun, moon, and rising in the timestamps. Those combined will give you the best sense of how this is going to show up for you. Life is never just one thing. I'm Jen Keane from Full Cup Astrology. Thank you so much for being here. I love to give readings that really get into the psychology, the emotional world, and the context that we feel and experience on a daily level, seeing how that connects to the patterns in the sky and what does it all mean? The interesting thing about these eclipses is that when eclipses happen, we have a solar and a lunar together in a month. The solar is new beginnings and the lunar is a completion. These are fated and karmic energies. So these are usually events that are out of our control that happen to us, and they are helping guide us towards something that we actually do want. Sometimes we get attached as humans and we are forced to let things go. This makes energetic space for what's new and what's to come. So even a lunar eclipse, which is technically an ending, is an important part of a beginning. What I found interesting about these Aries eclipses was that we had 3 solar eclipses on the Aries and Libra axis rather than 2 and 2. To have 3 solar eclipses in Aries, and as you may have heard, we have Neptune and Saturn moving into Aries. Neptune enters Aries on March 31st, and Saturn will move into Aries on May 25th. Saturn changes signs about every 3 years and Neptune every 14 years. This Neptune in Aries at the end of the month is a brand new cycle that kicks off a new 165-year cycle before it goes around the entire zodiac. Aries is also the first sign of the zodiac. So this represents brand new beginnings in a new cycle in so many different ways. I like to describe Aries energy as the toddler, the baby. Maybe the baby is in Pisces. Pisces is the sign before Aries, and that is what is referred to sometimes as the cosmic womb. That is where life brews in the energetic state, and Aries is when it comes into form. This correlates with spring in the northern hemisphere. Pisces are the buds that are forming in the branch still, and we don't see them yet, but they start to poke through and there's maybe a hint. Aries season is when the buds start to pop. When we think of the toddler energy, it is something that is excited. Toddlers are excited to wake up every day. They don't know that the world could get challenging later on. They don't have the development to process learned fear and other behavior that restricts us and holds us back. That's more of a Saturn energy, this more elderly, grandfather, knowing all, knowing what can go wrong, knowing that it's important to slow down and watch our steps. Aries does not. Aries is playful, ready to move forward, sometimes lacks the follow through because there's so much excitement and gusto, passion, motivation. It is a fire sign. It is what we need to initiate. It is what we need to feel that fire inside of us and excitement for life again. So I think a lot of people are going to welcome that feeling after Mars has been retrograde. Mars is still just gaining momentum, and you may have felt it. Mars has been retrograde since December. It started losing momentum back in November. Being the ruler of Aries is connected to some of these Aries feelings. So our passion and our initiation and our zest for life when we wake up every day could have felt a little squandered. Now that we are getting back to momentum with Mars and we have this solar eclipse in Aries and then major planets moving into Aries, really will be feeling more excitement and momentum to move forward. Thank goodness. Right now, we do still have Mercury and Venus retrograde, so we do have a little slowdown when it comes to those planets. Those are especially going to feel wonkier for the signs that those planets rule. So if you are a Taurus, Libra, Gemini, or Virgo, you are going to still maybe feel like you're ready to get going with all of this Mars and Aries activation, but that there are some glitches or things from the past that still need to be revised. So don't get too frustrated if you're not feeling fully ready to go. Mid-April promises more of that forward direction. Some people will feel something happen right on the day of the eclipse. Some people will feel it a month before or a month after. And the events that manifest because of this certain moment, they can take a year to fully show what the story was all about, or longer. These are really important pivotal points in our lives, and we don't know the full story at the time of the eclipse. With Venus and Mercury retrograde, this revisiting from the past is going to be about assessing what we value. And I think this is such an important time to be very clear on what matters with love, money, resources, where we want to put our energy. Before we get into all of this, this is a new era of Aries energy, essentially. And this eclipse is the last in the series that has been pushing us towards this year, 2026, when this energy of Neptune and Saturn is more permanently implanted in Aries for the rest of its journey. During this final Aries eclipse, what I want to put out there is be patient. That it can be really challenging to do when we are in Aries season and when there are a lot of planets in Aries. Neptune and Saturn are planets that will create fog and slow us down intentionally. So there can be some frustration with that, with Aries energy. And you might, even though Neptune is on its way to Aries and Saturn is not quite there yet, prepare for that, because Venus and Mercury retrograde can also give us that feeling. So there's just so much energy pushing forward and slowing us down at the same time, or creating confusion, or bringing us back into the past a little bit, because Aries has the risk of burnout. And unless we are aligned with what really matters and what we definitely want to put our energy into, then we could spin our wheels and not actually put momentum into the areas that are truly important to us. I heard a quote this week that stood out loud and strong to me. I will link the video below that I found, that I heard this in. It's called How to Fix Our Negative Patterns. It's about change. Maturity is what we do, what we think, and what we value that is of what we choose, that is may be different or similar to the way we were raised. But the more that we put conscious choice into the things that we do, the things that we value, and the things that we believe in, that is the marker of maturity, evolution, and growth of the individual. When we stay an exact replica of the place that we came from without consciously choosing what we like or dislike or what aligns with us and what does not, that we lack maturity. Tell me what you think about that one in the comments below. An important part of happiness to align with what we value as a unique individual in this world and not necessarily anything that came from the constructs outside of us of how we are supposed to be. Now, of course, we do have rules of society that we need to live in, and that is, I don't want to negate that. We have astrology, and what I really love about it is that this is a diagram that represents our specific inner patterns, our needs, our desires, our wants at a soul level, and how they are different or similar from everybody else's. And it's through this blueprint that we can get a richer understanding of what really matters to us versus what matters to those around us or how we were raised to be. It is a type of grief when we have to say goodbye to a piece of ourselves, a piece of our connection to our community and our families that once made us all united. And then there's a layer of separation to deal with. Now for some important dates. Mercury will station direct on April 7th and give it a few days after that to gain momentum. Venus is going to station direct on April 12th. And again, we always want to give a planet a good buffer. It depends on the speed of the planet. Mercury, about 3 to 5 days. Venus, you can give a little bit more. But you will feel it right away, and it will continue to gain momentum. So clarity in values, topics of money, communication will come back around those dates. April 16th, Mercury is going to be back at 0 degrees of Aries, conjoin Neptune. This, even though Mercury is direct, this could be a day where Mercury faces a bit of fog. Mercury is going to help add communication and understanding to Neptune and Aries. This is a moment where Mercury has come back from Pisces and has gathered more of the energetic processing and is now ready for action. So writing projects can gain great momentum. You can feel more inspired. This is a very highly creative day. That's when Neptune conjoins Mercury. Our brains might feel a bit foggy, but it's like we're wiping out some of that cerebral energetic busyness to make room for creative downloads. May 2nd, Venus comes along and conjoins Neptune at 1 degree Aries. This is a romantic day. This is when you can get swept up in creativity, dreaminess, pleasure. This is a day where being intoxicated can come about, whether you are sober or not, you might feel intoxicated. And if you are choosing to be intoxicated, be careful. This is definitely this is a moment where you can get swept up in that. This is similar with new moons, and especially full moons, eclipses. Alcohol and other intoxicants can have a much bigger effect on our systems than a typical day. So do be mindful, but have some fun and enjoy this romance and creativity. May 14th, Venus will be on this eclipse point. This eclipse point is a hot spot, and as Venus and Mercury cross over it, that's going to be a time where parts of this eclipse can start to embed with the other planets and create more of a cycle. So around topics of love, you might find, for those of you that this Aries eclipse has to do with romance, values, money, Venusian type things, you might find this day significant as for more of that story unfolding. And then May 25th, Saturn in Aries, and it can feel like the responsibility kicks in at this point, that from now up until May 25th, we might be riding a bit of a high in momentum and excitement. And on May 25th, we get the dose of reality that Saturn can bring and say, hey, wait a second. This is what your project actually is going to entail. This is what it is going to take to get off the ground. This is the reality of the more physical dense energy once we bring this plan into a more material form. Saturn is really what gets the job done. So still a very wonderful piece of how this is all going to play out. This year, we are also really blessed and supported. Some of the reasons that this year is extra supportive is that we have Uranus and Pluto in positive vibration of sextile to Saturn and Neptune as they start this journey in Aries. We also have Uranus and Pluto in trine to each other, which is another lovely aspect. That gives transformation and revolution that we're facing this year a boost of ease. This isn't coming through a square or an opposition. Sometimes even a conjunction can create a stronger upheaval that can feel uncomfortable in the moment. But these trines and sextiles have promise of support as we go through this shift. Jupiter is exalted in Cancer, and that is coming in on June 9th, which means that we all get a boost of Jupiter. That can be very healing. This can be expansive in whatever part of your chart this happens. I'm going to give you the sign by sign closer to June, so stay tuned for that. But a hugely supportive energy that we have for a whole year. So from June of 2025 until June of 2026. Jupiter is going to square Neptune and Saturn for a little while, and that is going to just really amplify the beginning of Neptune and Saturn in Aries. Extra jolt of steroid action on those two planets. It's very exciting times, to say the least. You are going to hear that from every astrologer out there. But this really is a groundbreaking, shifting time. And it has to do with knowledge, with Uranus going into Gemini, and Jupiter is currently in Gemini, which is really expanding our curiosity and our thirst for knowledge and our quest to incorporate and amalgamate different ideas, bring some unity into lots and lots and lots of different concepts. An important sneak peek of those dates ahead. But now let's get into your sign, your sun, moon, and rising, so that you can make sense of all of this in your life and how it could possibly show up. Thank you so much for being here, liking, watching, subscribing, but honestly, just for being here. It means so much. And if you feel like subscribing and commenting, that is so much fun. I love seeing you guys for readings. I will link my website below where you can book online with me. I do live Zoom readings, and right now my rates are still in Canadian dollars. So for those of you in the US, do take advantage. That is going to change soon because I'm going to be updating my website. But for now, I would love to see you for a reading, still in my intro level rates from last year. So jump on that. I'll see you in your sign. Hi Capricorn. This is a 4th house eclipse for you. So this could be a brand new beginning with home, family, your inner world. Even though this is a brand new beginning, Mercury and Venus are traveling back into your 3rd house and then back into the 4th house. So there's something about neighborhood and community, siblings, cousins, close relatives. Values around this are being readdressed at the moment. And then in April and May, you're going to have more forward momentum on all fronts. There might be something that really wants to change with your inner worlds, where you were raised, your upbringing, and the influences that has had on your life. But there's some revisiting that you want to do with 3rd house topics like siblings and close relatives. This could be communication. It could be that there's something that needs to be reworked about communication and media. If you have creative projects in this field, then there could be some revision. This can also rule vehicles and short distance travel. So you might need to revisit some of those topics somehow before fully moving forward in fourth house home matters. But this eclipse is going to show you the way. This is a fated point in life where this new beginning is just going to happen. Maybe the new home shows up for you that you have always wanted. Maybe this is the energetic inner world shift that needs to happen before your home manifests, the one that's really in alignment with everything you've wanted and desired and who you are uniquely, because we're talking about Aries here. We're talking about self and individuating from other. So what does it mean to really be aligned with who you are at the core of your being, at the foundation of your soul, the parts of yourself that you don't show other people? And what does it mean to have a house that reflects all of those things? Maybe this is a home that you can feel safety in your soul for being uniquely you. Maybe in your home, you need a space that is just yours, that you can decorate the way you want, that you can go away and be secluded and have this time surrounded with just your own energy, where you get to continue to work during this bigger Aries transit on what it really means to be you. Capricorn energy by nature is very outwardly focused. It is goal setting, it is career, it is the 10th house of the chart in the classic position of the wheel, which means that that is the most outward point, and the fourth house is the most inward point. This is a big juxtaposition of the classic Capricorn energy and what's really at the core of your being when it comes to home and your inner world. Capricorn is designed to achieve and be out in the outer world and have that forward momentum, that mountain goat. Technically, it's a sea goat, but it still gets that reputation of step by step until you get to the top, which is its position in the chart. But we're talking about the bottom here. We're talking about the soul and the inner world. And so there might be, especially for Capricorns, more of a disconnect between what you think you want and who you think you are because of that Capricorn achieving nature, and really who you are at the soul. If you take away that goal to feel like security comes from motivation and work and success and continuing to climb and to change. Aries energy doesn't care so much about where it's going. It gets excited about new ideas, but it really doesn't have progress and achievement constantly in the back of their minds. So that's why Aries is allowed to have fun and be playful and take things in the moment. This Aries era that we're moving into is going to help us be more in the moment and be more present. This Capricorn era that we have been moving out of since we just finished the Pluto in Capricorn since 2008, that was transforming Capricorn energy and making us really question, why do we have the structure we have? Why do we go for the goals and achievements that we do? When I think about Capricorn energy, I also think about this energy that never quite gets to the top because there is always a new level to get to. Even when you have so much self-improvement underway and have changed and transformed and met so many targets and goals, well, there's always more to go. There's always something new to reach for, and there's always personal transformation that can get done. And so there's suffering in that. And I think that this Aries era and this eclipse, and probably the eclipses since 2023, have been showing you a way that can bring you back to self and true nature and present moment and a little more fun, a little more time alone, maybe not necessarily, but time to connect with yourself, time to go deep into what that really means. And it is the more that you align with this, the more that you get in touch with that self, that you are going to find joy and play and safety and security at home. Because Capricorn energy thinks that safety and security comes from achievements, but it actually comes from a solid foundation and a solid home base. And that's what you're working on right now. Communication is a big piece of this. So if you want more information on this, check out my North Node in Pisces video. I will link that in the description below. And the Venus retrograde video, those will both be linked because these are the planets and points that are in Pisces still. And Pisces is your third house, which is still quite lit up at this time, is where your mental habits, your communication habits, and the people close to you are really going to start to shift and be part of this home stuff that's in question. You're getting more connected to self and communication, and that ultimately will help your career and outer goals. Chiron is also in the fourth house, and Chiron is about wounds. Chiron is sensitive points that help us focus more on an area of life because it's sensitive. It's noticeable. We feel wounded in this area. So there is a wound connected to home that might be preventing you from feeling more at home. Mars is squaring that, which means that it's getting inflamed right now. And so this is the one thing in the sky right now that could be making you feel anxious, frustrated, a little wounded. But this is a breakthrough. A Mars square is always a breakthrough. It kind of like a pimple and inflammation. It does inflame, but it bursts and then it clears out, and it's a detoxification process. So we are detoxifying wounds here. This is a part of the story that is going to make you really think about some of these topics around home and self, and realize that whatever past pains are blocking you from connecting with this, you are able to move through them and heal them. It could come through media. It could come through writing, books that you're reading, things that you hear that start to change your mind and change your thoughts and change the way that you express things. And as a result, change that home life. This looks like really positive alignment, Capricorn. It could feel mixed going through the process, but I think for many of you, you're going to be feeling a lot more passionate and optimistic and motivated to make any of those changes with home and family, place of origin. Let me know how that's going in the comments below. Thank you so much for being here, watching, liking, subscribing. It's so wonderful to meet you through Zoom readings. So if you would like to book one and chat more about what's going on in your life, check out the link below, and I will see you next time. Hi, Aquarius. This is the third house solar eclipse for you. So this is a brand new fated beginning when it comes to neighborhood, siblings, close relatives, communication. Uranus is in your fourth house, and though it is not sending direct aspects to this moon, there's a sextile with Mars and a sextile with Saturn in the North Node, and it's still strongly activated, and I wasn't talking about it a whole lot as far as part of this eclipse story. But it's there, and for you, it's in your fourth house. So I wanted to bring that up because the fourth house is one of the main quadrants in astrology. And when you have planets there, they have a bit more emphasis. So there could be radical change and development when it comes to home, where you came from, your family, your mother. And this could have to do with your communication changes or marketing material. There could be just something fated with a sibling or cousin or relative or neighbor that's going on. But for most of you, I think this is going to have to do with communication and your thoughts and how you use them in a clerical sense. This is how you use your thoughts in a daily way. This isn't the big picture stuff like the ninth house. If you are in media or writing of any kind, then this is especially a pivotal moment for you when it comes to those topics. Chiron in your third house Mercury retrograde, Chiron is getting a square from Mars in your sixth house, and Mercury's retrograding. It's at the time of the eclipse, it is still in your third house, but it's going to go back into your second house of values and assets and self-worth and how you use your energy, how you expand it or lose it. So the story seems to be about healing a wound of communication. Do you feel like what you say and what you write has value? Or do you feel like sometimes it does, sometimes you question your value, maybe when it comes to work and employees and your daily routines, your habits? Those could reflect a lack of worth or a lack of value in some way. It's going to show up differently for everyone, and that's where getting a personal reading can be helpful to understand more if you feel drawn to that. Venus is already back in your second house, and this is the classic position for Venus, being that this is the house of Taurus in a classic chart, and Venus is the ruler of Taurus. So this is more about money and values and what really matters to you. The extra emphasis on the Taurus, security, stability, and maybe there is a connection to romance and relationships as far as that goes. A Venus retrograde is a period where you could be, if you do have a romantic relationship in question, this can be when you're questioning values. This is a really good time to bring those topics up because it's important to know where people stand and to have those really core values align in ways that are functional and work and that you can work with long term. This doesn't have to be about romantic relationships, though. This can be values in any sense. Usually finances come up with that because this is a financial world, and anything that we place value on, there's a certain energy or monetary exchange for that. And in astrology, energy and money are interchangeable. Those who have high self-worth and are able to maintain their core energy in ways that support themselves and stay connected with other people. This is a house of managing the energetic exchange in the world of self and others. So when it comes to money, the people that have a strong sense of energy and fluidity in that system, so giving and receiving, but ultimately always keeping their tank full, those are the people that also manifest the financial and external support as well. Those that give too much or don't receive well or don't give and therefore don't take in energy, there's a blockage and a stuntedness to that flow, and they can feel more drained and like their tank is depleted more easily. So there are lessons around this in some way for you, where you're looking at the energy of what brings resources and abundance your way and helps you feel like your cup is always full. And this is karmic. This is fated with the North Node here. So this is an interesting eclipse in the way that the eclipse is happening in Aries, but the North Node is in Pisces. And that's what generates an eclipse, is when lunar activity happens, new moon and full moon, that is, happens within 15 degrees of the node. So it does every once in a while happen that the node has just moved on to another sign, but the eclipse takes place in the previous sign. So all year we are going to be talking about this Pisces Aries concentration of energy, and you might get sick of hearing it, but it is that important that it is going to come up over and over again. And it looks and feels like we are just really driving home lessons that need to really curate and take form in that Pisces realm before we move on to the next. So that means the energetic realm behind everything. And that's why I wanted to get into that detail and story about the energy of the second house and the energy of self-worth and maintaining a full tank for yourself while giving and receiving and participating in that exchange with others. It is in this process that you are somehow transforming your community, your third house stuff, your connection with siblings, cousins, close relatives, communication, and media or writing. This is how you express yourself. The connection with the second house and third house can be that when you're feeling solid in who you are, in your self-worth, and your energy is in a healthy motion and full, communication comes across differently than when you're depleted, lacking resources, and feeling like you need to compensate in some way. So I think there's going to be a lot of that going on for you, where you're going to be realizing that the optimal communication comes from a place of healed energy, self-worth, and resources. And that's going to continue to feed what you put out in the world, which is going to continue to feed your resources. Aquarius, you are that Uranus energy. You are that radical next level. Let's create change and make things different than the way they have been. And in order to do that, you already have a strong sense of your unique self-worth, but there needs to be in balance with the exchange with others, and the communication really needs to be dialed in order to meet other people where they are. And that's a mindset thing too. Aquarians can feel like they're at odds with other people. And if that is at the core of the mindset, then the communication delivery can be different than if you are expecting your message to be received well and you don't need to push or assert in a certain way to have what you're saying received. Act as if comes to mind. Act as if it already is. Act as if it is already being well received. Act as if you are already there. And that frustration at the core of the energy to get from A to B will be dulled, and you will feel more in alignment with the end goal and the target that you're trying to get to. See how this all plays out, Aquarius. Thank you so much for being here. It is so much fun to talk astrology. And if you would like to hear more, I would love to see you for a one-on-one reading. Website info in the description below. I do live Zoom calls, and if you have been thinking about a reading, this is a wonderful time to dive into that and see how your chart lines up with some of this energy. And let me know in the comments below. I love chatting with you. Thank you, and I'll see you next time. Hi, Pisces. I find this so interesting how you're transforming. So this eclipse is your second house, and this is also where the big energy is coming in this year, 2026, and for the next 14 years with your ruler in Aries, your ruler being Neptune. All of this Neptune and Aries talk has so much to do with you and more Pisces than a lot of other signs. So do pay attention to the stuff that you're hearing out there about how this could potentially show up in your life. Aries is an energy where there is a lot of fire, and typically this is a bit of a miss. So Pisces and Aries can misread each other, not quite see each other or understand each other's point of views. And that is because signs that are next to each other don't see each other. We need at least 60 degrees to have a stronger communication. There is still a connection though. And for you, this has to do with your second house of money, values, assets, self-worth. How do you manage your energy? How do you manage your money? How do you feed your body? And are the clothes that you're wearing and the foods that you eat, are they nourishing and soothing and secure and healthy experience? I say secure because the second house is classically the house of Taurus, and this is the house of money, security. There's a sense of stability here. And you, Pisces, overall, you have been going through all of these other changes with the North Node now in your sign, Neptune has been in your sign for quite some time. Saturn has been stripping things away and slowing things down and really giving you some armor to face the world with. I think a lot of Pisces out there are going to have really big roles in helping other people understand what it's like to perceive energy in the way that a Pisces does. The revisions of self are still underway, and you're going to feel this back and forth this year of wrapping up these lessons with Saturn and Neptune in your sign. I actually don't like using the word lessons. I feel like that brings us all back to being scolded in elementary school over not getting basic math right, or whatever for potentially challenging connotations we have with the word lessons. Do you feel that way too, or is it just me? So I would rather say that planets, when they visit a sign, when they have a transit, yes, it might be lessons, but what it really is a revamp of that combination of energy. And so you are revamping Saturn in your sign. You are revamping your ruler Neptune in its home sign of Pisces. You are revamping karmic alignments with the North Node and the direction that you're going in. So this is an escalation and a fine-tuning, a finessing of how you work with Saturnian qualities and how you work with your natural God-given Neptunian qualities. Now the second house with this eclipse, you've been feeling this since 2023, this final eclipse, but you're going to have so much activity in your second house this year and then permanently 2026, and you are going to be refining what it means to have Neptune in your sign of worth and energy. Having your ruler in the second house is going to be in some ways a continuation of what you have been going through. You've been creating this container for your energy so that you have some structure to work with. But now it's going to be about how much energy you let out of that container and how much energy you let into that container. Where are those permeable spots in the container, and how do you manage that activity? This is something that you came into this world with a certain amount of gifts and qualities and abilities. And now this is a moment where you get to re-choose and select what matters to you and what you would like to leave behind of potentially the ways that you were just taught to think and act about worth, about money, about the way that you nourish your body and the way that you represent your energy with clothing. Clothing and voice are in the second house. And to me, those are a representation of the energy that we're expressing and that we're showing the world. Okay, this is what's inside this container. This is what is of value. This is what I have to exchange and transfer with others. I could add and challenge that the second house is also that, I mean, it's connected to the first house in that when we see somebody, we have a sense of their image and who they are and what they bring to the table. The second house is a bit more of a feel and a real connection to what it is you bring to the table. Now let's talk about money, resources. This is a time where something fated could come into your life, a new beginning with resources, a new beginning with your investments, the way that you invest money, the way that you invest your energy. They go hand in hand in astrology. The way that you invest your energy also has to do with quality of foods, what you spend your money on, what matters to you with investments of all kinds. During an eclipse, something is likely to happen outside of yourself, outside of your chosen actions, that is going to help nudge you along the path. This could even be intuitive downloads and a clearer sense of what it is that you really want. And then when Mercury and Venus are direct in mid-April, that is when you can move forward more with some of the thoughts and ideas that you're having. Because Mercury and Venus are retrograding back into your sign, and then they'll be going back again into your second house, this could have a lot to do with what you value around relationships, what you value with that balance of give and take in a romantic relationship, in significant partnerships. Uranus in your third house is about revolutionizing the way that you communicate and the way that you express your thoughts, your writing, media, if you're involved in that. Whatever you're doing with first and second house could also be revolutionizing the way that you communicate and your writing or media projects in some way. The third house also covers siblings, neighbors, close relatives, short distance travel, transportation. There could be some radical change that's happening here. And these are new ideas that help you get to the next level. For you, Pisces, this is a lot of energy about self overall, and they are so intertwined. You have the first, second, third, fourth, and fifth house with planetary action, and 12th, which is your sign, but Jupiter's where the fourth house is, protecting your home and inner world, and Mars is in your fifth, which is giving you motivation now for your passion projects and moving forward with more connection to your creative self-expression. So these are all houses that are on the bottom of the chart, and they represent your inner world. A lot going on under the surface, as they say, Pisces. Let me know how this is going in the comments. I would love to hear how this is showing up in your life. And just thank you for being here. Thank you for watching, listening, subscribing. And I love seeing you for readings. If you would like to process more with a one-on-one Zoom reading with me, check out my link in the description below. I hope you have a wonderful eclipse season, and I will see you next time. Hi, Aries. This is your eclipse. You are becoming very familiar with this feeling of faded energy working through you and pushing you along on this path of really transforming the way that you operate in the world, the way that you get from A to B, the persona that you embody, that you show the rest of the world, the tools that you have at your disposal, the more Aries qualities. You're waking up new levels of Aries energy inside of you. And especially so now that your ruler Mars has been direct since February 23rd, but really we're just starting to feel Mars reactivate and gain momentum as these eclipses roll through. With the sun in your sign, spring equinox is here. That is the cusp of your sign. So this is a fresh start, a new year. This new self is hopefully feeling inspired right now. There's probably a bit of backtracking into your intuition, into 12th house topics with Mercury and Venus going into your 12th house. This means overseas, faraway places, time alone, seclusion, sleep, rest, meditation. The 12th house covers hospitals, prisons, places that are removed from society. And I like to look at it on the axis of 12th and 6th, which is 6th is the things that we do, the activities that we carry out in a daily manner to connect with society and function in society. And the 12th house is everything that is removed from that. It covers a lot. But this, to me, for most of you, looks like energetic processing. The 12th house is the house of Pisces, what we refer to as the cosmic womb. This is where intuition and the energy that we came from coalesce and create. This is the process of the bud forming as an energetic process in the stem before coming out into something in Aries. You're still going through a bit of a cocoon phase, growing on the inside and going through faded transformation with the nodes now in Pisces. And Venus and Mercury can have you spending more time meditating and putting your value on rest, seeing the importance of doing that energetic processing before putting things into material form. So you're going to feel a bit of both, maybe with energetic transformations of self, if you are going through a lot of self growth and revamping. That also requires times of rest. Uranus has been traveling through your second house of radical changes to self-worth and your assets, your energetic balance, what you invest in, how you grow your energy. Rest is now looking like a big part of that. The sensitive point right now is the Mars square to Chiron, and I'm only talking about this in select signs where it's a little heavier of an energy. But Mars square Chiron for you is happening in your fourth and your first house in the quadrants, and that is extra potent. You could be working through a wound that gets a little inflamed around this time when it comes to your self-identity and the place that you came from, specifically your mother for some of you, or that matriarchal lineage. It could just be your family lineage, but regardless of where it's coming from, something to do with home, be aware that this is purposeful inflammation and irritation, that it's when you recognize the wound and see that you are no longer that wound, that you can step forward into something new while nurturing that wound, while nurturing it for yourself and for other people. That creates more of an asset than a deficit or a wound. And that is the thing I learn over and over again with astrology, is that the very thing that feels like a pain, a deficit, a wound, a problem, an irritant, a conflict, they are actually our biggest supporters and our biggest helpers. It just doesn't feel like it in the moment. Same thing when things are easy. Sometimes we could just feel frustrated and not good about that. It's interesting, our perception versus what is actually going on. So keep that in mind about how you're judging or assessing the situations that show up, and know that whatever it is that's showing up, this is ultimately helping you become a different person, have more tools, have more self-confidence, feel like you can step into any role that you would like to. I think for a lot of you, this is about intuition brewing. This is about becoming clearer with your connection to energy and how much control you have over that. I still have to make and record another Neptune and Aries video. I do have one with Aries MOSHE WOLFE that I will link in the description below. That is wonderful to hear his perspective. Some of the things that have been coming to me was that this is an era for shapeshifters. We are going to have more shapeshifters coming out than ever. And I think a lot of people with strong Aries are going to be part of that you are going through this process where you're realizing you can bend the fork, or however else that's showing up in your life, but it is managing energy at its source and then navigating life from that. In some of the practical ways this could show up, Venus is hanging out in your 12th house, so relationships and values could dissolve. They could just be getting some time away and time for rest. So values could be dissolving and regrowing during this transit, but you might just be taking time to meditate on them. You might be taking time away or overseas vacation with a loved one, the honeymoon energy for sure. Eclipse energy can be potent. This is your season. You have the sun force in your signs. I expect it to be very supportive, but it looks like you're going to be taking some rest over the next year and a half, maybe even for some of you. And the 12th house is also a house of self-undoing and self-destruction. If those are things that you are working on, this is a time when that gets revised. And I think that when Neptune and Saturn are more in your first house, you will have overcome a lot of that, and you'll be dealing more with the body at that point. It could feel like a bit of a rebirthing time, because the 12th house to the first house has that energy of brewing in the womb and then being born again into Aries. More on that. 2026, you will feel more of this fully formed rebirthing process and feel like a different person. And from seeing all of this, if you need rest, if you need time away on a vacation with someone special, if you are needing to refine your values, take this. It's harder for Aries, so I just want to emphasize that take this time as a time out. You're going to appreciate it looking back because there is so much Aries placement moving forward. You really want to go full gusto. The hibernation period is a very important period before growth. If we don't hibernate properly, we can't grow properly. So embrace it where you can, Aries. Thank you so much for being here. Just being here, listening, commenting, subscribing. It really means so much. And if you would like to process more of these big changes with a Zoom reading with me, check out my link in the description below. And I will see you next time. Hi, Taurus. This is the 12th house solar eclipse for you. So this is a brand new beginning when it comes to overseas places, retreats, rest, meditation, connection to the divine, connection to meditation and collective energy. This is hospitals, prisons. This is a house of rest. Ultimately, this is a house also that rules self-destructive tendencies. And it's called the cosmic womb. So this is a brewing place. This is a place where ideas are born. This is a place where we regenerate and recuperate. This is where we cocoon. This is in part a place of metamorphosis because of this time away and brewing energy. However, metamorphosis is more technically the 8th house where Scorpio and Pluto are. But Pisces still has this healing, dissolving, dreamlike, resting quality in place to it in the 12th house. This story is strongly connected to the 11th house, which is where the North Node is, which has to do with friends, networks, community, connection. This can be the connection through internet, systems without a center. This is the nervous system in the 11th house. The North Node is in the 11th house, and Mercury and Venus are retrograding back into the 11th. So topics around what you value, the way that you communicate your values are going to be coming up. Venus is your ruler, so you are one of the signs that could feel a little tired when Venus isn't strong. You're going to be revising your connection to these communities, and it might be from an intuitive place. There may be some actual overseas stuff going on for some of you. Maybe that is something that you're contemplating. Maybe you're going to go away on a retreat. Something that is fated with your spirituality, even. Spiritual retreats are certainly covered in the 12th house. And maybe you have a new community that's coming about there, or a fated, destined direction that you were meant to go in when it comes to your connections. Uranus has been revamping yourself, your persona, your tools that you offer this world, the way that you show up in the world as a strong and steadfast, secure, stable energy. You are going through some radical changes and transforming this fixed sign, which Taurus is, which means it's what gives it stability. It's what gives it follow through. It is why it is so secure. But there is a quality of Uranus energy that wants to create upheaval and create radical change. There's a electrifying feeling that can create more anxiety when Uranus is active in your first house. Its job is not just to create discomfort and problems with anxiety. It's like it's cracking the vase and making room for a new design and some new expansion. It is those very cracks that allow the light to shine through, as they say. Think about it that way if you have been feeling destabilized compared to what you're used to feeling or what you value feeling. There can be that sense in the 12th house as well, that there is this energy of dissipating into oneness and not having a stable structure, which is what the 12th house is all about. There is something that is going to be helpful for your connections and your community in this process. It is like you're going through these changes of melding and morphing slightly into a different structure that is going to allow you to connect. It's going to create these openings in your energy field that allow you to merge with other people, to understand other people differently, and to really make space for integration, because that's what community is about. There is autonomy, but it is not all just these like standalone figures in isolation. There has to be a bit of ebb and flow to that sometimes we come in and we're this interweaving web with other people, because that's what the 11th house is in traditionally with Aquarius. It is an interweaving spiderweb like connection with others. And Taurus by nature can have more autonomous vibration to it, where it's not a very permeable energy. And so that's the process that I see happening here at this eclipse. This permeability is going to help you. It is not as destabilizing as it feels in the moment, because Taurus, you are going to be a stable energy no matter what. Embrace some of this fluidity in the best way possible. This can be a wonderful time for vacation if that is where you're off to. You might find new connections and community there. And if it's not vacation, it's just a time out. And the world can create this in ways that sometimes we don't want. So for a small group of you, sometimes this is forced rest. And that can also be something that we resist and we feel is wrong in the moment. I love rest personally, and I still resist it when it's forced upon me by the universe. It feels like there's something, it just feels like there's something wrong because I can't be as productive or do as many things as I think that I should. And I don't always just embrace that opportunity to rest, but I'm trying. So sharing that message with you at the time of this eclipse. And mid-April, there is much more forward energy. You are going to be feeling the momentum by your birthday. So many more planets are going to be moving direct, and Uranus is going to be out of your sign in July. I'm going to talk about this so much more, but for you, Taurus, this is going to have the most impact, that you are going to be rid of this erratic energy that has been in your sign since 2018, I believe. I think I did this in the last video. 2018. Uranus has been in your sign, and you are going to love how it feels physically to have this moved on, especially if Taurus is your rising sign. And all Taurians are going to feel this big shift in July. It's a big year overall for everyone, but Taurus, you are no exception with this Uranus shift, and I look forward to making a whole video just on that one. Taurus, you're also still in an energy of fiery tongue. You could be feeling really passionate about media, short distance travel. Do be careful with driving, because there could be, with Mars in your third house, this could be more road rage around you, or just erratic driving on your part or others, maybe a tendency to speed if that's you. But for most people, it's going to show up in communication and daily thoughts. So you might feel a little more fiery, a little more quick to say things, especially with the combination of Uranus in your first house that is already erratic, and Mars now moving direct through your third house brings more fire to the communication and mental pieces. It's also in lovely vibration right now to Uranus. So this could be an energy where it's just motivating to have conversations right now and express yourself. And it goes really well. It goes really well to express this new place that you're coming from and this revolutionized feeling of self that you have with Uranus in your first house. And Jupiter still expanding your luck and assets and self-worth and possessions, finances, sometimes more expenses, but overall very positive placement for Jupiter. We'll move on to your third house of communication in June. I will talk a lot more about that one. And for now, enjoy this rest, meditation. You are revamping self. You are revamping how you communicate, how you think on a daily basis. And that overall is going to allow you to experience more joy and pleasure and security in a way that also connects you to others in a more integrated capacity. Thank you for being here, liking, subscribing. If you would like a one-on-one reading with me, check out my link in the description below. And I will see you next time. Hi, Gemini. This is an 11th house solar eclipse for you. So this is community, networks, friendships, community at large. This could be an audience if you have one. This isn't necessarily your closest friends, but your acquaintances and people that you know through your networks and community. This is also the house of wishes coming true, long-held dreams coming to fruition. A new moon, solar eclipse. I mean, this often is more full moons where things come to fruition, but something faded and new is coming in with these topics and connections. However, Mercury and Venus are both retrograding back into your 10th house and then forward again. So there is some redo energy here to do with your ruler. So you are another sign that could feel a bit of an energy regression when Mercury is retrograde. You just might not feel productive, forward moving, feel a little more tired, unmotivated. We do have Mars, our planet of motivation, though, direct now and gaining energy. So that is working in your favor. But still, Mercury and Venus retrograde, something from the past needs to be done over again with friends, networks, your reputation, your career, your public image, who you are in the world in your 10th house. For some, this could be the 10th house energy is about status in any way that shows up. That could be work status, relationship status, status in society, depending on where you're from and how that works. But things are very faded right now, and the North Node is in your 10th house. So and the North Node is what is connected to these karmic fates and what makes the eclipse an eclipse. These two houses are both equally accentuated right now. And the back and forth is really quite fascinating. So what is it? What is it about networks, communities, and your status and reputation that is being revised, where your values are being reset, where relationships are being adjusted? Virgo and Gemini are both signs ruled by Mercury. They are mutable signs, and the mutable really is like malleable. It's a changeable energy. It's the chameleon. It can navigate a lot of different zones and figure out a way to be at ease or to camouflage and to act as if. When Mercury is transiting and retrograding or moving signs, you're really going to take on that energy of that sign. You're really going to take on the quality of that transit and a retrograde as well. So what is it about Pisces energy being energetically in tune, psychic, creative, absorbing other people's energy, meshing at an energetic level, shape-shifting, creating an energetic wave before it manifests into something physical? And then Aries being just go for it. Gemini has a lot of malleable qualities, but sometimes lacks the initiation to just take that leap, have that brave quality of Aries and Mars, and really go for what matters. There can sometimes be a loss in the openness to everything that makes it harder to hone in on what really matters and what self really feels like. this is one of those times when it comes to community and your reputation that you're going to be focusing more on what it really means to embody self. You're going to be sorting through a lot of information because you're a sign that embodies a lot of different pieces and elements. This is an opportunity to choose what you like, choose what you want to leave behind. And there is an element where the eclipse will just bring you circumstances that help guide you to where you already want to go. So pay attention to what comes out in your networks, communities, friend groups, audiences, and where you want to go with that. Mid-April, when Venus and Mercury are direct, that's when you can see more of that forward momentum. But right now, there is still something from the past that we need to go back and adjust and redo. And I think you're getting a really strong intuitive sense about this because Uranus is in your 12th house. This has been going on since 2018 and is wrapping up its visit. In July, Uranus moves into your sign. And this is going to be where you really are taking on a different form, energetically revolutionary change of self. For now, it's happening in the cocoon place of Pisces in the energy before it turns into form. So your dreams could be heightened. Your intuitive sense of the direction that you're going in could be heightened. You could be having flashes of insight, of a feeling of where you want to go and who you want to become. And it's happening before that transformation actually occurs. Jupiter in your sign is probably giving you the physical strength. You could be even physically expanding, some of you, to embody Uranus before it comes in. And this is not how it goes with everybody that gets a Uranus transit, but this is nicely timed for you, Gemini. So you are going through a lot of personal changes with Jupiter in your first house, and in a very healing way, you're feeling more solid in who you are. And that is helping give you these clues as to what you want to represent out in the world. You're going to be going less with the flow of everybody else and more in your autonomous zone of what really matters. And even the things that you're passionate about, you want to, because Aries rules passions, and that is connected to your house of networks and community expansion, you want those networks to really be aligned with the things that you're passionate about. And that's part of what is unfolding right now. For you, Gemini, this is a lot about you, but this is how you fit into the public. This is how you fit into communities and your reputation, your career, the people that surround you, the people that are here to help you, your dreams, a little bit of alone time, a lot of physical and persona transformation. And you let me know how this is going for you. Let me know in the comments below what's showing up in your world. I would love to hear from you. Thank you so much just for being here, though, for liking, watching, subscribing. And if you would like to process more with a one-on-one reading with me, check out my Zoom link in the description below. Would love to meet you, and I will see you next time. Hi, Cancer. This is the 10th house. Solar eclipse for you. This is your reputation, your public image, your status, your career. There's a stacked amount of energy in your 9th house as well. So you could be teaching, learning, getting a new teacher, publishing. This 9th house energy can also be foreign people, foreign places. The things that are foreign to us are the things that help us expand and gain more knowledge. So there's a lot of change happening, fated change, because the North Node's in your 9th house, this eclipse is in your 8th. They are both karmically active points during this eclipse. And we're going to be combining the energy to go back over something from the past in the 9th house with Mercury and Venus retrograding back into Pisces in your 9th and moving forward again in your 10th. There is something that you're missing when it comes to a foreign person, place, concept, idea, teacher. Maybe a guru can come into your life and help you in your career and your reputation and who you are in this world. Something from work could be going through fated changes, and this is career and status reputation, not necessarily the actual work you do, though that could go together, and it always depends on everyone's personal chart. Something unexpected could be coming from friends, networks, community. There could be still some hidden blessings going on with Jupiter in your 12th. And you are gaining momentum now that Mars is direct in your first house. You might have felt a bit foggy, a bit out of sorts, lacking motivation, lacking direction since December. And now you're starting to feel that fire inside of you again. You're starting to feel and align with what you feel passionate about. And this is probably a big part of what's changing your higher learning and your career. Romantic relationships could have some foreign aspects to them where you're dating somebody or in a relationship with somebody that is completely different than you or comes from a different culture or background. And this can be part of expanding how you view the world and your beliefs and values. There could be a publishing project of some kind that is getting revised and fated to be out in the world and seen. If you're in publishing or academia, there is just a lot of meant to be energy here. You might be part of teaching others, but you are also it is also an important time of expanding your own mind and beliefs and values. With Mars in your first house squaring Chiron in your 10th, it's interesting. It's only coming up for people with these on the axis of the quadrants. So for you, it's self and 10th house of career, which is extra potent when it's in these 1st, 7th, 4th, and 10th quadrants in astrology. And Chiron is the wounded healer. Chiron, there is a part of your reputation and visibility that you don't feel comfortable with or that you feel very sensitive about. This can get flared up right now with showing yourself out in the world. And this is a point where you get to step in and nurture that part of yourself a little bit more. It inevitably ends up being something that you bond with others over as well. And you end up nurturing each other in this similar sensitivity around being seen. And that's such a Cancerian thing. That reputation is, reputation is a sensitive thing. Cancerians would rather be home and safe and protected in their crab shell is where the symbol comes from, but really it means inner world, at home, with family, with close ones, with loved ones. So out in the world, being at work and being out in the career force, that's the Capricorn vibe. And that is the opposite of Cancer and what balances it out. But everybody, all of us, with whichever combinations of zodiac we have, we are going to be balancing these axes. And so this is another one of those moments where you're going to be stepping into more Capricorn energy, more Aries energy, and feeling that fire and ground beneath your feet, that you have rungs of a ladder to step on. You have the flame of motivation and drive and desire to get you to go where you want to go. So this is an opportunity where I think a lot of Cancers are going to be feeling forward momentum in ways that you don't normally feel and maybe haven't felt in a while. There could be some room for misunderstandings when it comes to foreign concepts or teaching or integrating concepts, reintegrating concepts from the past. If you are in an academic program, you might have to redo some writing projects or revise some things if you were publishing. Mid-April is when more forward momentum is going to show up again. So don't worry if things feel a bit sluggish and slow until then. This is a time to just do what needs to get done. Don't worry too much if it doesn't go as quickly as you like, and see what this eclipse is unfolding for you. And then April, May, June, you're really going to feel more of a swift pace move through and probably see more of the results that you're looking for. Enjoy this time, Cancer. Thank you so much for being here, chatting with me in the comments below. It really means so much. Would love to hear how this is unfolding for you. Thank you for subscribing and liking and honestly just being here. If you would like a Zoom reading with me to look at your personal birth chart or anything else astrology related, I do astrocartography, which is locational astrology, and I do a little bit of electional astrology where I look at events to come and windows of opportunity throughout the year. I actually have written a PDF for each sign for different opportunities with new moons and full moons and based on electional astrology. Lots of info. I will link all of those services below and would love to see you there. Have a great eclipse season and I will see you next time. Leo, this is a 9th house solar eclipse for you. So something is a faded, fresh start when it comes to foreign places, foreign people, education, your perspectives on the world. This can represent travel, visas, just different cultures and experiences than what is familiar to you is where we expand our beliefs. It is how we expand our views. And education, some of you could be teachers yourselves, or a very important teacher could be coming into your life. And you may not see it right away. You may not know the importance of a lesson until years later, or a certain person that came in as a guru and educator and what that really meant for your life trajectory moving forward. Now, this is also 8th house and 9th house. So you have the North Node in the 8th house. This is the house of Pisces. This is birth, death, transformation. This is psychological reversals and healing. This can be sudden changes in your life that just one day you're walking down this path and the next day, boom, you are on a completely different trajectory and maybe connected with foreign lands and foreign places in some way. You are getting revolutionary change from Uranus in your 10th house, and this is not making an exact connection to the moon itself, but it's still a potent player in the sky. Uranus is sextiling Mars and Saturn, and those are the rulers of your 9th house, your 6th house, your 7th house. So we're talking about, again, that foreign places, foreign people, work, partnerships. Mars is in your 12th house of overseas, faraway lands. So this is another signature that's connected to travel and faraway places, but this also means rest. Or this could be some passion that is behind the scenes right now. This could be more passion in the bedroom. This could be motivation and drive to have connections overseas or take a trip. With you, it does look like there are a lot of threads that have to do with work, but partnerships are certainly significant there too. This energy, though, just to bring it back to the 8th and 9th house, this is about your mindset. This is about healing the psyche. This is about transformation and metamorphosis. And some of the other physical things could be happening too. But because these symbols are representative for everyone in a general reading, not everyone is going to have connections to overseas. But most people, whether subtle or more obvious, will have a transformation of mind, psyche. Past trauma can be a part of this. Typically, this is a wonderful time to seek out therapy, and if you are on that path, then that could be your teacher. During eclipse time, though, this is always when things happen for you and easily everything just comes to you. So you do not need to make outward motion, especially with Venus and Mercury retrograding in these two houses. Really, this whole year is going to be so much emphasis on these two parts of your chart, especially the 9th house of foreign places and people, concepts, belief systems. It's really our belief systems and our psychological transformation that create the world around us, because it's our perceptions that dictate the experience. And one person can be watching something play out in the world and it can have a completely different meaning than someone else who's watching or experiencing the exact same situation. This is what's transforming for you. And this creates wonderful opportunity to just enjoy more of life and get more gains and pleasure out of the experience when different patterns from your upbringing are not dictating your perception of the circumstances unfolding. This is that part that I mentioned in the intro about maturity being that we select what we and choose what we like and what we want to bring forward, our values and the things that we do with our life, and that they are different than that of which we grew up. So this is, in that way, a lot of active choice to align with your values and align with what really matters to you. That is another component of the 8th and 2nd house, because it's in axis always, and the 3rd and 9th, where we're talking about daily mindset and the bigger perspective, or your values and the way that you manage your energy and how that exchanges with another person. Which is also, the 8th house is a part of deep, intimate bonds. This is an opportunity to deepen a romantic connection or connections with significant people in your life. It is through the merging of foreign concepts and integrating belief systems, or making room for your own to expand because of someone else's, that is part of that choosing something new process. We evolve as ourselves by experiencing what other people experience and then deciding whether or not we would like to maybe try out that same thing. So I think that could be a big part of bonding processes for you over the next year, is that it is about keeping an open mind, leaving room for expansion of your perspectives, and merging deeply with another person's psyche. But that means understanding your own and another person's equally, maybe working towards that, but at a deep level. Bonds are enriched when you know your own psyche really well too, and you can both share with one another and do the best to understand the experience and process that each other has gone through. You do have Pluto in your 7th house, so this is deep transformation and metamorphosis of your significant relationships. I really feel like this year is a big piece of that. We're just kicking off the Pluto in Aquarius journey in your 7th house, but this year is really going to show you what psychological and transformation of beliefs can really do when it comes to connecting with others. Jupiter is in your 11th house, so this is a time where wishes can come true and expansion of networks and community can be a part of that. You have a lot of people in your corner right now, Leo, so this is a wonderful year to take advantage of that. Not take advantage, but just enjoy it while it's here. Jupiter will move on June 9th into your 12th house, where it can have different benefits there. We'll get into that closer to June. For now, keep an open mind. Make room for going back over topics of conversation when it comes to your psyche, your desire to transform, merging with other people, and expanding your mindset, being open to foreign concepts, foreign people, foreign places, and just seeing what happens. Let me know how this is going in the comments below. Would love to hear from you there. And it's so great seeing you for a one-on-one Zoom reading. If you have been drawn to take a look at your birth chart with someone who reads charts, check out my link in the description below. I would love to see you there. And have a wonderful eclipse season. I will see you next time. Virgo, this is an 8th house solar eclipse for you. So this is a brand new beginning when it comes to your deep bonds, your intimate merging with other people, your ability to be supported and receive financial gains from others. This can be a house of taxes and loans. Maybe a source of money is coming in somewhere that is fated for you. Whatever is unfolding, let it happen and just watch and observe what's going on. Because the North Node is in partnerships for you and we still have Saturn there, Venus is backtracking there and is retrograde. Mercury is about to. So that big Pisces party is still going on, and that's partnerships for you. That is partnerships from the past coming back around and likely somehow very financially, emotionally, otherwise supportive. You are about to go through a bigger journey of heightened Aries activity, and that is for you going to be about other people's resources. For now, enjoy this fresh start. This could also be psychological transformation for you, psychological healing and sudden reversals. This is the house of Scorpio, and with your ruler Mercury being retrograde here, there's something from the past that is getting re-examined when it comes to partnerships as well. So if you have psychological shifts that you would like to make when it comes to how you bond with others and your significant relationships, this is a moment where a lot of that energy could unfold in the way you've been wanting. We just went through the lunar eclipse in Virgo, which was different for everyone, of course, but overall that energy promised a shift of vibration. It had Uranus involved in lovely angles, and this was really about shifting the vibration that you come into the world with. And now it's about to happen on the other side. So the way that people mirror back to you when your energy changes is about to change, which is fitting. Virgo, you are going through deep transformation with Pluto in your 6th house. This is not in direct communication with this moon, but it is an ongoing, overarching energy of the story. So work, habits, routine, all of those things you do on a day-to-day basis could have a significant role. And Jupiter is in your 10th, bringing expansion in career, visibility, status, healing your public image. These together can speak a lot about career. So this could have an emphasis on work for a lot of Virgos, work partnerships, resources from supportive people that really help your reputation and career. And Mars in your networks. So your audience, your community, your friendships, it could be time to cut certain connections in communities. And it could be just a passion and a drive to really make those communities work for you and expand your connections out in the world. Whatever is unfolding, Virgo, this is fated when it comes to partnerships. You are blasting through any fog that has been created with Neptune and Pisces in your 7th house. It is like you have all up until this point, or at least every 9 years when the eclipses come along or heavy transits, but this one is particularly jam-packed in the house of Pisces. So all of us are going through this redoing of what is foggy and dissociated and not quite clear or over romanticized when it comes to 7th house stuff. That's easy to do. And there's a new relationship to Neptune there now. There's a new relationship with Saturn there, which means that the ways that you go about your partnerships and close, important relationships is transforming. So Saturn is the way that we get things done in a practical sense, and Neptune is the way that we connect intuitively, or the creative flow, or the intuitive connection, sometimes also seen as the rose-colored glasses. And the combination of these two with the fated North Node energy really looks to me like a graduation, because those planets are about to move on for good in 2026, but we're getting a taste of this shift with Neptune and Saturn leaving Pisces. Neptune in just a few days after this eclipse. So this eclipse really feels like boom, you have got it. Neptune is leaving. Things are going to get clear for a little while. So watch for that in your partnerships. Where do things suddenly gain clarity in April, May, June, even into July and August? And then in the fall, you're going to have a little bit of a redo of Neptune in the 7th before it's done for good. It is this clarity with Neptune leaving in such close proximity to this eclipse, because this is happening so close to the eclipse. The eclipse is on March 29th. Neptune moves into Aries on the 31st. This shift of Neptune into Aries is a big part of what deepens bonds. Maybe you have to sort through some fog. Maybe you actually have to work a little harder to deepen the bond. Maybe there's some rose-colored glasses when it comes to other people's resources and what you expect. And then when you're getting into it, it looks a whole lot different. But it is trying to sort through that fog that actually gives more detail, more depth of understanding, and could really be the ingredient to deepen the bonds that you have or make them more beneficial. The 8th house, because it's resources from other people, there could be just benefits coming from another. Revolutionary energy from Uranus is in your 9th house, and this means that your mindset is changing, your beliefs, the way that you view the world. And I think that this is all part of this psychological transformation, deepening of bonds, and really figuring out partnership stuff. Thank you so much for being here, Virgo. Thank you for watching, liking, subscribing. It's so much fun chatting with you in the comments below and meeting and seeing you for birth chart readings. If you would like a one-on-one Zoom call with me, check out the link in the description below, and I will see you next time. Hi, Libra. This is a 7th house solar eclipse for you. So this is partnerships. Whatever has been going on with partnerships since 2023, this is the precipice of a whole new world for you. Starting with this eclipse, this is a fated moment of new transition, new beginnings with significant people in your life. This can be a romantic partner, a marriage partner, work partner, anything that is contractually based. And karmic relationships show up here too. You are ending a karmic cycle and getting launched into a shift based on whatever transformations you have been going through for the past couple of years. There's a strong connection here to work. Some of you, it could be important work relationships. It could be a romantic relationship that started at work or somewhere in your daily routines, like a yoga class or other health routines that you do. Uranus is in your 8th house, and though it is not in direct connection with this moon, it is sending lovely vibrations to your 6th house, which is where the North Node is, and it is very overlapped with the astrology of how this year is playing out of 6th house and 7th house transits for you. The 8th house Uranus could be surprising revolutionary change with your psyche, with trauma, if that is part of your experience, with death, birth, rebirth, other people's resources. So unexpected money from a partner or partnership could come through. This is where taxes and loans are also covered. Positive connection though with Uranus to Mars and your 6th house planets tells me that whatever is conspiring, it is ultimately going to benefit you and you're going to be happy with the results. Unexpected pregnancy can also be part of this for a small percentage of you, or a pregnancy that is by something new and revolutionary technology wise, or just that's different, something that's out of the ordinary from the typical way that people experience bringing children into their lives and into the world. Uranus is the ruler of your 5th house, and so that's being in the 8th, that's where death and birth are covered. The 8th house covers pregnancy, the 5th house covers children. Pluto being in your 5th house as well means that there is deep transformation in this part of your chart. This doesn't have to mean children for everyone. This is ultimately creative self-expression. So you could have a creative project that is your baby. You could be developing sports and hobbies and other fun things that feel more connected with who you are and more authentic to your childlike self and how you have fun. And it could be this transformation of children and hobbies and fun, maybe even dating and romance and true love that is affecting your 6th house of routine, health, habits, as well as your 7th of partnership. It's really so much overlap in this particular moon. So that's why I'm mentioning them all a few times and mentioning them together, because I think what you're going to find is that your partnerships are changing your routines. Your work is maybe changing your partnerships. Your health could be transforming because of someone significant coming into your life. You could have faded doctors or hospital treatment with North Node and Pisces in your 6th house. If illness and recovery and health and wellness is part of your journey, it doesn't have to be. People that are in film creation and music and art creation of any kind, even spirituality and meditation, can have a strong Pisces 6th house. It could be that you have had some medical things that have been challenging to pin down and really get clear understanding. If that's the case, Neptune moving into your 7th house which is happening March 31st, shortly after this eclipse, is an indicator of more clarity in this part of your life. Neptune creates fog, and when it moves forward, you are going to the work that you have been sifting through in your 6th house of habits and daily routines and health habits and wellness and organization and work, just how you get things done, how productive you are. There have likely been things that created challenges and lack of clarity in this part of your life, just specifically so that you would spend more time trying to figure it out. And in that process of lack of clarity and sorting through the fog and trying to figure things out, that's actually where we get the most information. Some we toss, some we keep. And when it comes to significant partnerships, this solar eclipse promises an individual, a relationship, whether that is romantic, work, or otherwise. I think all of your significant relationships are going to have a flair of more individuality. There's going to be more need to be together, but separate. And as a Libra, you've already been working on this. This is part of what this eclipse has been all about. The axis of 1st and 7th house is self versus other. It's just flipped for Libra. So typically Aries is on the ascendant in the classic position, and Libra is in the 7th house of partnerships. And that's where we devote to another person. Libra can do that by nature. Also understanding the fairness of balance between self and other. But this era is going to create fog in the self component so that everybody is working through what it really means to be an individual and be interconnected in a healthy way. Chiron here in your 7th house too, with a square from Mars in your 10th moving forward. Just to touch on Mars first, Mars in your 10th getting momentum can be more career changes. You're feeling your public image is working in your favor, or you're just feeling more motivated to be seen and get out there. You have stamina, passion, inspiration, and motivation in the 10th house of career, visibility, reputation. That is creating a feisty square to Chiron, the wounded healer in partnerships. If you're feeling sensitive and a wound being irritated around partnerships, this is a small piece of the story that is just showing you where you have the tools to nurture that wound with others, that injured part of yourself that feels challenged around being connected and being separate. When this passes, especially in a week or so, you're going to be feeling stronger in who you are and how other people see you, as well as your ability to support yourself and others through the challenges that connection in significant partnerships can bring. Be aware of that sensitivity and know that this will pass. that ultimately this solar eclipse is bringing an opportunity to connect more, to deepen your relationships, to enjoy day-to-day life with other people, whether this is work or at home. This is just enjoying the day-to-day stuff, the mundane things in life, even work, and enjoying connection with other people in that process. Fated people at that. So people that show up right now, you might not see the full trajectory of what they were bringing into your life, but looking back in 5 to 10 years, you're going to look back on this time as a very significant time of connecting with others. Enjoy, Libra. This is one of the things that you do best. So enjoy the partnerships coming into your life. Enjoy that connection and enjoy that connection to others, health, forward momentum, routines working in your favor, and looks like a little dose of status change or momentum when it comes to your public visibility. If you would like to break it down with your personal chart, would love to see you for a Zoom reading. Check my link in the description below. Have a wonderful eclipse season, and I will see you next time. Bye, Scorpio. This is a 6th house solar eclipse for you. So this is a brand new beginning when it comes to work, health routines, your routines in general, habits, and the things you do in a day-to-day way. This can be employees if that relates to you. This is the work house, the house of slavery historically, which in modern times, I think of this more as our duties in life, the things that we need to show up for, sometimes in a slightly sacrificial way, because we know that the energy that we put into this house will come out in other ways, but it's getting the work done. And that is an important task that all of us need to do in some capacity in everyday lives, in our everyday lives. If you have felt any resistance, any blockages to getting work done or moving through some health stuff, there's a square from Mars to Chiron happening from your 9th house to your 6th house. And this could be that you have a new teacher or a new belief system that starts to radically shift this part of your life. A new job, a new career, a new routine, a new health thing can show up in your life, and a new way of organizing. This is fated though, so this could be people related to work and related to these daily routines. You're getting a boost in health and work in some way. You have already done a lot of the hard work since 2023. With Neptune moving into this part of your chart, you could feel a bit more foggy coming up around some of these topics. And this would be a part of sorting through the details to constantly improve. It is when we can't see so far ahead that we pay more attention and we try to figure out more. So do keep that in mind. If anything comes up that you're not that you feel uncertain about. The 5th house is also strongly connected to the 6th because the North Node is in your 5th house. This has to do with fun, creative self-expression, children, play, true love. This is a house where you are aligning more strongly with who you really are, what is authentic at an energetic level, what is creative, and really just being okay with lacking structure. Being okay with going with the flow because you're finding that that is where the creative inspiration comes from. This has been a longer journey with all of these planets in this part of your chart. And this is where the fog has been with Neptune. This is where Saturn has been for the last couple of years, giving you that extra stamina to sort through the fog and realize that working in conditions like that is not so bad. You've probably accomplished quite a bit creatively, or with children, if that is part of your life, or with dating and romance, figuring out what joy really means to you. Partnerships are likely a part of that. You have been revolutionizing your connections with Uranus there. Something radical, different, out of the ordinary is being created with your connections to other significant people in your life. And this is no exception. This is going to bring more fun, more play, more connection to your creative, authentic self. So you're probably, as you're getting more in touch with that energetic part of yourself that is less of the practical, getting things done day-to-day world and more in this ethereal, connected to all and connected to source way of being in this world, your significant people have to keep up. And if they won't, there's going to be tower moments and changes that allow for the right people to come in that are ready to play your game and have fun with you in this new way that you are embarking on when it comes to fun. There's certainly some revision from the past in the fifth house with Mercury and Venus traveling back there together for the month of March. The topics around children and creativity and dating and romance, true love. What does love really mean? What does creativity and creative self-expression really mean? You're going to be revising some of this stuff and then moving forward in the middle of April with the productive, concrete, getting things done, ironing out that routine and seeing what that looks like in form. If you are backtracking right now, you are right where you should be. I like to talk about retrogrades that way because as someone with strong Virgo, the desire to always be productive feels like a failure if I'm not. And Mercury and retrogrades, especially Mercury retrograde, is a time when it is we are most productive when we are revising and going back over the past. You are really motivated and inspired now with Mars forward in your ninth house of beliefs and mindset, publishing your ideas and perspectives and views of the world. If you are going to school of higher academia, there's more momentum there now, and you could be feeling passionate and happy about the work you are accomplishing there. Scorpio, this looks like a great blend of the creative, energetic, and material concrete for you. You could be teaching. You could be finding that you are relying on your intuition more and you're able to balance the structure of work and discipline and teaching or whatever that work and discipline is and the creative side. I do say teaching because of Mars in the ninth house. So that could be teachers coming into your life or you being a teacher. This is also passion and momentum around integrating foreign ideas and foreign concepts. That could be a piece of the story for your creative projects and children or creativity in general. In June, so Mars will move on from your ninth house of foreign places and foreign concepts, foreign people, and higher education, belief systems. That is moving on shortly. Then Jupiter moves into that part of your chart in June 9th, exactly. And for a whole year, you get blessings and expansion of an exalted Jupiter at its best when it comes to healing. And Jupiter is the classic ruler of the ninth house of Sagittarius. So Jupiter in of its nature has a sense of higher learning and expansion and spiritual pilgrimage. Publication is part of that if this is part of your journey. This can ebb and flow up until June. You're going to be feeling a burst of motivation right now. And if you do feel a lull shortly after, don't worry. This is going to be a time where you're going to focus more on your image for a short period of time. And then the ninth house will be lit up again and blessings abound for a whole year to come. Thank you so much for being here, Scorpio, for watching, liking, subscribing, and always love to see you for one-on-one Zoom readings. You can check out my link in the description below. Have a wonderful eclipse season, and I will see you next time. Hi, Sag. This is the fifth house solar eclipse for you. So this is children, creative self-expression, play, true love, dating, romance. This is a joyful, pleasureful house and a wonderful place to have a solar eclipse. A new moon on steroids. There is a lot of overlap between home and this fifth house energy. It could be that your inner world has been transformed. So the fourth house is home, inner world, family of origin, the way that you were raised, the inner parts of yourself that you do not show the rest of the world, your foundation in life. This is at the bottom of the chart and holds the base of who we are, which is why it's the depths of the soul and the where we came from and all of that. So where are the connections between the two in your life right now? Is home taking on a new role because children are expanding? Are you feeling more creative because you are locking down the essence of who you are and becoming more connected with your inner world and the truth that resides there? Maybe you are making more choice and selecting who you want to be and what you want to do with your life compared to, or what you innately desired because of the way that you were raised and the family that you came from. There is fated energy in both houses. The solar eclipse is happening in Aries, but the North Node is in your fourth house, and that is where the karmic energy is. Venus and Mercury are both retrograding back into the fourth house, so there's something to redo when it comes to home and internal world. And then mid-April, when those two planets are direct again, you are going to feel the momentum happen in your fifth house of true love, creative self-expression, children, play, hobbies, getting in touch with what really is fun for you. And with Aries being in this part of your chart, this is a much bigger transit that's coming up with Neptune and Saturn moving into this part of your chart. After a long stay in your fourth house of home and inner world, it is now about how do you align with more play and more authentic, creative self-expression in this world. And the alignment of that is going to bring you a lot of joy. Children are part of this house because they are our creative self-expressions. They are a pure essence of joy and alignment with self that can teach us to honor and maintain that in ourselves. Mars moving forward in your eighth house in beautiful connection to Uranus in your seventh, and all of these planets in your fourth house. Mars in beautiful angle to Uranus in your sixth house, and all the planets in your fourth house. Mars is in your eighth. This could be sudden transformation. Maybe not so sudden, because with Mars retrograde in your eighth house, you have been focusing on this part of your life and going deep, which the eighth house is already deep. So this is psychological transformation, healing. This is the subconscious murky waters. This is other people's resources, taxes, payouts, support from a significant partner in your life. It may have been more challenging in November, December, January, even February. Now that Mars is gaining momentum, you are seeing the payoff of the work that you have been doing in your eighth house. Death, birth, and rebirth are connected to this part of your chart. This can, with beautiful connections to your sixth house and your fourth house, to me, this looks like more on the healing side of things. And it is affecting in surprising ways. You're getting revolutionary upgrades with sixth house activity, with your health, with your daily routine, your habits, the way that you go about your day to just get things done. And that is changing your inner world and home in some way too. So it will be uniquely individual for each of you, but keep that in mind as another side energy, but yet very potent and powerful for this eclipse time, that complete transformation and metamorphosis is something that's been going on in the background, very likely. Could be that you're seeing the financial gains of that now. It's changing your work and health, and it's changing your inner world. Maybe you're even moving for some of you, and that allows for something that's more aligned with your creative self-expression and who you truly are. There could be so many different possibilities. You let me know in the comments below, Sag, how this is showing up for you. You're about to break through some fog in your house of home and internal world, and that is going to carry forth a new version of you when it comes to aligning with who you truly are, aligning with the family values that matter, and separating yourself from the ones that don't. Partnerships, connections, work, community, networks, audience. These are houses that Mercury and Venus rule for you. And so these are all also going to benefit when they move direct in April. And you might even be reworking something with connections and audience and networks and all of those things. So this eclipse really does highlight a lot of different parts of our lives for each person. These are some of the ones that are moving forward and getting reworked in March to move forward in April for you. But it is very all-encompassing. So enjoy these connections. I think work and home and play have much nicer balance now. You've really dialed in how to be radically different and revolutionize your work and habits in order to have these big gains when it comes to your inner world and your ability to play and just align with play and maybe even children. Thank you so much for being here, Sag. I hope you are reaping the rewards of some of this more challenging psychological and inner work transformation that it looks like you're going through. It could very well manifest into lovely home changes and playful changes in your life. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for being here, watching, liking, subscribing, and I would love to see you for a one-on-one Zoom reading if you feel called to look at your chart with me and see how these are showing up in specifics for you now and even later on in the year and next year. Have a wonderful eclipse time, and I will see you next time.